Hi, everyone. I'm going to walk you through our lesson for today on evidence and commentary. So, our teaching point for the day is students will be able to write a body paragraph for a rhetorical analysis essay. We looked at this last week as you all looked at those exemplar rhetorical analysis essays. So, I just want to come back to this because this is the section on the rubric that you are earning the most amount of points for doing two things. So remember to earn that 4 out of 4. You need to provide evidence. You need to provide specific evidence to support all your claims in a line of reasoning. And you consistently explain how the evidence supports a line of reasoning, and you explain how multiple rhetorical choices in the passage contribute to the writer's argument, purpose, or message. So to earn those 4 points, you have to do those 3 things. Okay. You also want to make sure that your grammar and your mechanical errors are limited to earn those 4 points. And you want to see if you can analyze multiple instances of the same rhetorical choices. So we will talk about that in a moment here. So this is our body paragraph structure that you are going to be practicing with today. So notice a few things. First, always you start with your claim. You identify the writer's rhetorical choice towards the beginning of the text. So in your introduction, you wrote a rhetorical précis. You identified 3 rhetorical choices that you are now going to talk about in your body paragraphs. This is where you introduce that rhetorical choice. Then you use evidence to support your claim. We'll talk about how to do that in a moment here. And then your commentary. So this is where you explain the writer's decision's effects. How does this rhetorical choice, this particular rhetorical choice, support your claim and then supports your overall thesis? And that is in your rhetorical précis. Okay, so only if you have time to develop more evidence, then you can add more evidence of this same rhetorical choice. If you, again, think about you only have 40 minutes to write this essay, and not even that because you have to read through the prompt and then write your essay. So if there's another instance of this rhetorical choice showing up, you can provide another example of evidence and then again, comment on that and how it affects the overall argument. But if you don't have time, then just worry about that one piece of evidence and commentary. We'll look at an example here in a moment. So your claims, these are the rhetorical choices you chose to include in your rhetorical précis. You should aim for 3 claims, meaning 3 body paragraphs. Okay, these are sentence starters for you for each of your body paragraphs. You can start with the author's last name, begins with or by, and then make your claim about what rhetorical choice you see working, and you want to address the purpose and the prompt. Okay, your second body paragraph, you can do after the author moves to blah, 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 or building off of the choice he or she used to begin. She then goes into using an anecdote or alluding to blah, blah, blah. And then your third body paragraph, that's a sentence starter you can use there as well. Evidence, this should be specific textual evidence that shows the rhetorical choice you've identified embedding into your writing. So this is how you should do this. We are going to use a method called the ICE method. So that stands for introduce. So if you get my comment that says no naked quotes, this means you did not introduce your evidence. You all of a sudden just put quotes there to begin a sentence and you didn't give me any context for where that's coming from. No naked quotes, okay? So an example of introducing could be something like, Obama includes an anecdote, blah, blah, blah. Go right into that anecdote then after that introduction, and then you're good, okay? A sentence should just never start with those quotation marks, okay? You should introduce that quote. Okay, so then you go into cite. The C stands for cite. Use the lines in the text So like in our prompts, there's lines on the left-hand side of the prompt. Just take a look at what lines you're looking at. So this could be lines 50 to 52, okay? And then your evidence. This is quotes from the passage to support your claim, okay? You should be using direct quotes for this essay, okay? Use direct quotes from this essay. Use the ICE method to introduce your evidence. Finally, you have commentary. So this is a discussion of how examples supports your ideas. You want to connect the rhetorical choice back to your main claim, your thesis, your purpose. This should be 2 to 3 sentences of commentary per rhetorical choice. You want to consistently explain how the evidence supports your line of reasoning or it supports your claims. And you clearly and specifically explain how the rhetorical choices are used to help the writer achieve their purpose and reach their audience. So this should be a discussion of like, okay, you've identified that there's repetition of the word we. That's awesome. That's step 1. Step 2 now on commentary, then tell me why that word we is so important and how does it help the author or speaker achieve their purpose or their argument. Discuss and explain the textual example in relation to the rhetorical choice and the claim. Okay, so think back to purpose. The author utilizes this anecdote in order to. Okay, that's a sentence starter that you can use for commentary. This is an example for you. Okay, so this is an example of what you can do to write these body paragraphs. So, first, again, you have your claim. Perhaps the most frequently applied and effective device employed by Obama in his speech is the use of personal anecdotes from the late senator's life. That's an example of a solid claim. I know exactly what you're going to talk about. You have anecdotes that you're going to focus on in this body paragraph. Okay. Now think about your ICE method for your evidence. So your introduction. In one striking tale about Kennedy, Obama says that. That's your introduction to your quote. That's all you need. Then you have cite and evidence. So this is those direct quotes, right? There's your evidence. And I know that it's coming from lines 17 to 21. You put a period at the end, you're good to go. The citing can come at the end. That's totally fine. If you feel like it's kind of weird to put it before the evidence, that's okay. That is just fine. You will not get docked points for that. And then finally, commentary. So again, I put little numbers next to these sentences. This is just 2 sentences of commentary, and that would be okay. Okay? This familial dynamic described in this quote is one that most people can relate to on some level, as most families have a member who is an underdog in the social pecking order. Obama describes Kennedy's rise to respect within his family and in life as a whole, painting him as a human being, not an untouchable political figure. This is 2 sentences. It works really great. It tells me why this anecdote is important and how it helps the overall argument. Okay, this is all that you would need. This would earn a 4 out of 4. This is another example I'll have you look at in the slides here on your own. But again, this would earn a 4 out of 4. This is a perfect example of how you can start with a claim, go into evidence, and your commentary. This example has 3 sentences of commentary if you want to look at an example of that. Okay? Finally, just last hints for writing. Rhetorical analysis moves beyond merely listing the choices or appeals used to stating how the purpose is crafted. Do not just list those choices and not provide evidence or commentary. Commentary moves into connecting rhetorical choices to purpose, context, exigence, audience, subject, and or tone. So if you're getting stuck and you're working with an anecdote, think how does this anecdote connect to the purpose and the exigence and the audience? Okay, that's important. Commentary involves reflecting on how the argument would be different if the certain rhetorical choices identified were not used, and moves to discussion of how and why the rhetorical choices builds the argument. Do not use information from the prompt just to fill your first paragraph. We've talked about this. I want you to move from just what the information is given to you to like what assumptions can you make about the speaker and the purpose and all of those things. Avoid summarizing. Okay, AP readers do not want to see a summary. And identify the main point, idea, or purpose and state it clearly. So identify that main argument, state it, it'll help you. Do not ever use useless phrases like keeps the reader's interest, uses good syntax, to keep your attention, uses excellent rhetorical strategies, uses diction very effectively, or paints a picture. Okay, these are all phrases I've seen in the last 5 years, and they are no good. Avoid these phrases in your own writing. Avoid RAP words, dead words, especially words like you or get or it was or there are, were, I think, I believe, I feel. I do not want to see the word I in your writing. Said is also dead. Okay, try to find stronger verbs that you can use. Do not state like the author uses metaphors too. Instead, what you can move towards is like the author metaphorically states or the author alludes to. So we'll talk about that next week in class. But these are just helpful hints that will help you earn that 4 out of 4 on this section of the rubric. Okay, questions, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned now for our guided practice.